Hello and welcome to the Hub on CGTN. I'm Wang Guan in Tsinghua University in Beijing. Welcome to this program. Our guest today is Mr. Bjørn Gulden, the global CEO of Adidas, who's making a visit to Tsinghua University. What is he making of the reality and potential of the China market? Is Adidas having doubts about the reality of China market, or is Adidas actually doubling down on the China market given its size, its innovation capabilities, its science, technological advancements, and of course, its potential? Here's my conversation with Mr. Gulden. Mr. Gulden, welcome to Tsinghua University on this sunny day, and welcome, should I say, welcome back to China.
Well, yeah, I think I've been in China since 1993 every year.
Oh.
Okay, 2 years during COVID I wasn't, but I go to China, I would say 3 times a year. I haven't been to the university before. Very honorable to be invited here.
But
Great.
since you're taking the CEO position of Adidas, this is what, your third trip?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think I've been with Adidas now back again for 18 months, and I think it's the 3rd time. Yeah.
So this time around, meeting with the policymakers, checking out the sports scene here, the youth scene here, talking with some upstream, downstream businesses. How do you feel about the China market?
Well, the China market is extremely important for us. You have a huge population. You have had an economy that has been growing fantastically over the last 30 years. More and more people are doing sports. Your middle class is growing. So from a market point of view, it's extremely important. But also from a manufacturing and from an innovation, it's important. And then I have to say that you have a lot of talented students and talented people coming out also in creation and innovation. So we're hiring a lot of Chinese. So China is one of those, markets that we look most to, and maybe the most important market in the future.
I heard that over 80% of the products that the Chinese wear, including the stuff that you wear right now, by the way, that looks amazing.
The fabric is great.
So this is a what? That used to be the Chinese Olympian?
I think it's inspired by a range that was in 2008, and then they made it in many colors.
Great.
But I think what you said, 80% of what we sell in China is made in China.
Made in China.
Yeah. But we also use, China. We have a design center in Shanghai that designs for the local market, but also for the global market. So China is having a bigger influence on our ranges.
So you're saying that it's not just a consumer market as it was back in the day, but increasingly becoming an R&D center.
Yes.
Taking advantage of the upstream as well as downstream industries. Also the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Well, first of all, I think that when you see the world right now, it's not one system. There's one system, but it includes many smaller systems. So I would say Europe, America, China are the 3 most important hubs. And you try to combine the strength of those hubs in the most, efficient way. And if you're consumer-centric, you need to be very close to the consumer, and that means you need to develop, and you also need to try to make product as close to him or her as possible. And that's where China plays a very, very important role. You have a lot of innovation inside production, robotics, materials, and you have a high productivity in production. So there's many lessons learned from China that we are now moving to other markets. And for your consumer, he or she is moving very fast. So it's a place to test product. And again, because of your mono-branded retail, most stores here are Adidas stores. I think we have around 7,500 of them with partners around. You can, control the space, and that's why you need to change the product all the time to be fresh. So it's a different business model.
How does Adidas position China as a global hub, a global market going forward?
Well, I think it's going to be combined. I think it's going to be a design center for China, but also for the rest of the world. It's going to be a production hub also for innovation, especially in the Shanghai area. And then I do think that the role of sports in China is just going to increase and increase. So I think we're going to work a lot more with different sports and have it also as a sports center. So the importance of China in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years is going to be very important for our industry and also for Adidas.
Because there was some, doubts and even pessimism surrounding the future of the China market, As Adidas, as a top global sportswear company, do you look at it that way?
No. I think when you look at China the last 30 years, the development of this country since I started traveling here in the beginning of the 90s is just fantastic. and that there is a stagnation at a period of time for a while is normal. I think you have to be proud of what you guys have developed. And when it gets to the Western brands like us, of course there is more local competition, but competition is good. So we've never been in doubt that this is going to be an important market. I think what is new is that we need local management. I mean, we need Chinese people to run our business here, and then we need to support it. So I think the strategy is a little bit different, but I don't think Adidas ever doubted on the importance of the market. At least I didn't.
You know, looking at the policies of China, you're meeting with Chinese officials. How do you feel about the policy support? Because, you know, the very top leadership keeps saying this. China will only open itself up further to the rest of the world, to foreign companies. Do you feel China is walking the walk?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have a huge country that has gone through an enormous development. So, of course, everything is not so easy to fix short term. But I think the commitment from your top leaders, both, you know, I would say centrally and also locally, is there. We've had very good talks. And the issues that comes up, we can always discuss, you know. And I have the feeling that there is a huge understanding from the Chinese sides what foreign companies like us need. And it's a very good dialogue. That problems arise, and you know, you go through some phases where it's geopolitics is difficult. It's just the way the world is. But the commitment from companies like ours, and also from your, what should I say, authorities, I feel are very strong, and I think more open than ever, to be honest.
Okay, let's talk about some products. How does Adidas balance the utility, the functional part of its sportswear versus the need, the pursuit of fashion? You know, you have to be, you know, comfy, but at the same time, you want it to be chic and fashionable.
Well, the interesting part is that, you know, shoes that used to be performance shoes in running or in tennis or in soccer suddenly becomes fashion. I mean, the hottest shoe in the market right now is the Samba. It's a soccer shoe that I played with indoor in the 80s.
Pretty much like this one, right?
Well, this is the
This
Superstar.
reminds me of the classic antique
Oh,
German
it's
football.
not antique. This is
Bayern Munich
Superstar.
back in the 90s. Matus, the
Matthäus.
Klinsmann days, you know?
This is Superstar, which is an old basketball shoe. But you see that a lot of the classic performance shoes becomes fashion. And our archive, you know, we're 75 years old, so we have a lot to play in the archive. And then when it gets to the performance side of it, running, basketball, soccer, whatever, football, there's a lot of innovation in materials, making the products lighter, improving the fit, improving the traction. So there is kind of both avenues. And one avenue that people don't talk about is comfort. I mean, most people would like to wear running shoes or sports shoe also in their, what should I say, formal time, because it's the most comfortable product.
Yeah.
And fashion-wise, I mean, people dress much more casual. If you look at the people here compared to 15, 20 years ago, it's more casual. And of course, the sports brand, like us, with the marketing power that we have, are maybe the most branded, what should I say, fashion brands in the world. And that's why both performance, comfort, I would call lifestyle, both on apparel and footwear is very, very important and growing. That's why we are in a good industry.
How does technology, especially innovative technologies such as AI and new materials, come into play when you design and research your products?
Well, materials is also very important when it gets to the product, making it lighter, making it more durable, and also improving the performance. Like in running, there has been a huge, what should I say, innovation cycle with carbon plates that actually creates energy, and then materials that make shoes lighter. Our top shoe right now, the Evo, is 137 grams, and it's setting all the records.
Wow.
AI is currently, for me, more a tool to help making the right decisions. You know, we are using AI in design. We're using it in launches of product. We're using it to forecast, you know, how much of the product should we make. So AI is coming as a tool, but we should never forget that product is in the end the most important thing. And that's why we need people to design, develop, source, sell the product. And that's where social intelligence is as important as AI.
Okay, there's some difficulties, if I were you, because there has been such a thing as 国潮, right? Chinese national identification with Chinese national brand. People in China these days, especially the younger generations, they buy a product, a sportswear, because they affiliate with that cultural identity, with who they are.
Sure.
So they prefer Chinese brands out there.
Sure.
What do you make of the emergence of these Chinese local brands, and how do you cope with this reality into the Chinese market?
Well, I think two things. I think you've had quite some brands, local brands in our industry that has done well over the last 5-6 years, and that's good. Competition is good, and you have the competence to make products, so why not? I think for us the answer to that is to combine the global Adidas with the local Adidas. So again, you know, we are a global brand that works with global athletes, global teams, global celebrities. We have a global, what should I say, collection. But then in addition to that, our local management has the freedom to do whatever they want to do. And I think this combining, you know, the global with the local is the future. And I think people will look for global brands that also adopt into local cultures. That's why we have, I think, 40-50 designers now sitting in Shanghai, creating product for us, also for the local market. We're using a lot of energy with, you know, local athletes, local designers, local celebrities. So I think, as always, it's the combination of different things, not only one thing. And again, your population and your market is big enough, both for us and your local brands.
Anything you want to say to the Chinese younger viewers out there, the Chinese youngsters who, you know, may not be a sports professional athlete as you were back in the day? You played for what, Bundesliga?
Yeah.
Norwegian national youth team?
I played in the Norwegian national team, Norwegian.
That was incredible. What will be your message to the Chinese young people out there? Why should they take up a sport and love it?
First of all, I think sport, maybe if you don't do too much, which some of us maybe did, that's why we have injuries, is good for your health. I think team sport is very good for your social intelligence. And sports is fun. So each Chinese citizen should do sport for him or herself. And then I think on the national level, I do really believe that sports is bridge builder. If you look at the Olympics, by the way, where you were very successful both in the Olympics and the Paralympics, I think this having athletes, you know, across the world, also when there are political tension, that we keep on keeping the sports world going. So we play against each other, we work with each other, and I think we should have more exchange programs. I would love more of the youth teams in China coming to Germany and the other way around, because I think sport is very, very important. So my advice to all Chinese young people, do a lot of sports, and of course buy Adidas product when you do it.
Team China garnered some over 90 medals, including 40 gold at the Paris Olympics. Are you keeping an eye on them? Maybe some of the athletes
sure.
out there?
Oh, yeah.
What impressed you so far?
I mean, I was in Paris a couple of times during the Olympics and also during the Paralympics, where you took more than 200 medals and you were actually the best nation. I think in the Olympics you were the second best. I met many of your athletes and you know, coming out of difficult times in COVID, where training was difficult, competition was difficult, I felt the Paris Olympics was great. Not only for China, but for everybody. And I really, really hope that we keep on keeping that positive momentum to sports. And I'm 100% sure that the Chinese athletes will continue also to be more and more successful, even in football down the road, you know.
Any tips for Chinese football?
Start with the kids. You know, a good soccer player needs to practice 12,000 hours to be really good. So you have no chance.
12,000 hours in a year?
No. If you look statistically of a player that plays in Real Madrid or Arsenal or whatever, he or she has practiced since she was a kid 12,000 hours.
Until
you reach that quality. So if you do the math, you should start early. And there's no way to kind of shortcut that. You need to start with the academies and the youth program, build that, and then you will see that the quality will improve. You can't just start with players that have started later. There's no coach who can make decent players very good.
There's no shortcut.
No.
Expedient measure.
Correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gulden. It's our pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you very
It's
much.
fun.